Hello, everybody. Hope you all had a good 3-day weekend. Hopefully you were off. I had some family time, so I haven't been on here since Friday, but I haven't showered yet today either. But I went walking, so proof that I went walking. Just came in from outside, so thank God for ring lights. All right, so I'm going to talk about something that is been a little bit of a hot topic this past week or so, thanks to Jillian Michaels, and wanted to shed some light on that and give you a little bit clearer picture of the difference between a keto diet, which is very, very popular right now, and the Atkins diet, which is sort of been phased out because of the keto diet, and also kind of clear up some confusion about the dangers of it. And unfortunately, Jillian Michaels was on Steve Harvey, and she really kind of blasted that diet and gave some, at least in my opinion, some maddening, just kind of off the cuff advice. And if you go over to her page right now, a lot of her fans didn't appreciate it either. So, hey Chris, hey Toby. She's really getting blasted right now because people are really tired of the calorie in versus calorie out weight loss advice. And I'm not going to go into that because I've talked a lot about that, but what I really want to do is talk to you about keto versus Atkins versus keto acidosis and what those things really all mean, because I think people get really confused and then they don't know what to do. So first, let's talk about what a keto diet really is and what an Atkins diet really is, and then we'll go from there. So keto diet. One thing that was mentioned by Jillian Michaels was that a keto diet is the Atkins diet reskinned. And I did a blog post, I think it was last year, on this. And what I found was that there was a really big misunderstanding between those two diets because they actually are very similar. And I was looking in the research and trying to find, is the keto diet really all that bad? And I was finding a lot of research on the Atkins diet, and they were calling it a keto diet because there's a lot of for weight loss. So there's a lot of research on a keto diet for epilepsy and seizures, but everything that was referring to weight loss was actually describing what the Atkins diet is. And so the Atkins diet is a low carb, high protein diet. And the keto diet is a low-carb, high-fat diet. Those are very, very different things. They are not the same thing. Now, they are very similar. And so when I looked up the different in percentage, you'll see what I mean. So if you are somebody and you're following a true keto diet for what it is, and you really want to get the benefits out of it, and I'll talk about those benefits, then that means you're following 70% of your calories are coming from fat, 5% of your calories are coming from carbohydrates, and I can't even read my own handwriting, less than 25% of your calories are coming from protein. This is really, really important because keto is not just a flippant term thrown out. It's actually meant to put your body into ketosis. And ketosis means that your body is going to start burning fat for energy instead of the carbs that you're eating. And any little trip in that meal planning, you have to be a really type A personality to do this. You can't just go by the off cuff and eat whatever you want or kind of haphazardly plan this, because if you do, then your body is very well designed to compensate and will not be in ketosis. Our bodies, if you eat a little bit more protein than you should on this diet, your body will, and you're not enough carbs, your body will turn protein into glucose for energy, and then you're not into ketosis anymore. If you eat just a little bit extra carbs, then your body's going to immediately suck up those carbs for the energy, and then you're not going to be in ketosis. And your body has to go through your carb storage first, which is in your liver. So if you have a fatty liver, your body's got to go through that first anyways. to kick into the fat stores. And you want, if you are on a keto diet, you want your body to start breaking down the fat for energy. And it's a science. And if you're somebody who's doing it really, truly, and you really want to know, I know I'm in some Facebook groups where these people are testing their urine, checking for ketones in their urine, and they're really hardcore about it. And so there's benefits to it. There's, if you have insulin resistance, it actually can help that because your body's not needing to produce insulin. If you are struggling with hunger, you're not hungry, because the thing is that if you're eating a lot of carbs, our body's natural reaction when we run out of carbs is to feel hunger. And if you eliminate your body's need for carbs for energy, you're not going to feel hungry anymore, because now your body's using fat. Not to mention, fat is really satiating anyways. So you end up not feeling that hungry anyways because of the types of foods you're eating. Now let's talk about an Atkins diet. An Atkins diet is very similar if you're in phase 1. And there's actually, I don't know if you guys knew this, but there's actually 4 phases to a true Atkins diet. And I think the problem is that most people stop at phase 1 because it's really easy and you don't have to think about it. Phase 1 is about 60% fat, so it's very similar. In between 60 to 70% fat, very similar to keto. 20% protein, and it's about 10% carbohydrates. So those percentages are just enough to keep you out of that ketosis that the true keto diet is meant for. And you only stay on that phase of the Atkins diet for about 2 weeks. It's called the introduction phase. And then the next phase is when you start re-adding carbs back into your diet, only about 5 grams per week. Now, most people don't do that. I don't think I've ever met anybody that actually did that. And I think that's actually called the South Beach diet. And eventually you get into where you add 10 grams per week, and then you get up to about 45 to 100 grams per week on your maintenance phase. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody do that. And that's why there's a really high rate of weight regain with the Atkins diet, because you go from all or nothing. You don't have to think a lot because you just cut out all the carbs, anything with bread, pasta, rice, fruit, all your sweets and snacks and cookies and all that kind of stuff. You just cut it out, eat a bunch of protein, eat all your meats and your cheeses, and you don't really have to think about it, and you lose the weight. But it's just a very difficult diet to stay on, because eventually you get tired of, there's only so much meat and bacon and cheese you can eat. It sounds good in the beginning, but eventually you do get tired of it. And if you don't follow the phases, then you do gain the weight back. And it's also solely focused on weight loss. It's not focused on anything else. It's not focused on the act of getting into ketosis, although you might get into a very mild ketosis, not a moderate ketosis like the keto diet, and you might not feel as hungry, but it's probably not going to correct your insulin resistance problem. It actually will probably make it worse in the long run because you gain all your weight back. And it's just a quick weight loss, put it all back on, yo-yo diet, you've probably lived it. Now, the one thing that really got to me, and it gets thrown around a lot, is that the keto diet is dangerous. Now, by all means, I don't recommend this diet for everybody. You have to be a very stringent type personality, and many, many times somebody who's doing it for the benefits and focus. There's a lot of different things that I could go on about with the keto. But what was I going to say? So with the keto diet, so a lot of people say it's dangerous, and they are thinking of somebody that's going into keto acidosis. And keto acidosis is a totally different thing from ketosis. Ketosis is a normal thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually do go into ketosis on a regular basis, a mild ketosis. We're not intentionally doing it, but if you go, let's say it's a day where you had breakfast this morning and you skipped lunch by accident and you went maybe 8-9 hours without eating, your body goes into a little bit of ketosis just because you didn't eat. This weekend was Memorial Day. let's say you had a little bit too much to drink. Your body will naturally go into ketosis because it's restoring that balance and burning something for energy. It can't burn alcohol very well, so it will burn a little bit of fat. So we are always going into ketosis. We just don't stay in it very long. And it's more of a mild versus a moderate, which is the keto diet. Now, if you go into a severe high keto acidosis, which is the ketones are very, very high, then that's a dangerous setting. And that's something we really only see in people who have diabetes, who maybe stop taking their insulin. Their body just can't use insulin at all. And now they're in the hospital, and you could die from that. You could die, you could go into a coma. Lots of scary things can happen. But it's not your average person following the keto diet. And I have worked with people and seen people in the hospital who are diabetic, doing a keto diet and stop taking their insulin when they shouldn't have. That's a dangerous situation. But to just throw out there that the keto diet is dangerous because you'll go into ketosis, it's really not true. And I am definitely the first person that will say that if there's a diet that you find that works for you and you can do it long term, and and there's a lot of different things that I've researched, intermittent fasting, keto is one of them, that I thought would be horrible, that I thought would be a really bad diet to follow. And when I did some digging into the research, it's really not all that bad. And one thing that we do know is that telling somebody to restrict their calorie intake to lose weight doesn't work. It just doesn't. And we have to have an open mind to what other things there are that are out there. And one of the biggest things that hurt people today is insulin resistance. And there are two types of diets that seem to really start to correct that issue. And that is keto diet and intermittent fasting. And I've talked about intermittent fasting before, but I may talk about that in a little bit, maybe on a future live. But some people, if you can combine those two, that can actually really, really help. But it takes a personality type to be able to do that, because you have to be very, very stringent to follow those types of diets. And it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody's lifestyle. It's not for everybody's meal planning personality. So, you have to be able to commit if you're going to do something like that. So, right, Heather, restricting calories doesn't work for anybody. It just doesn't. So those are just two diets. There's a lot of different ones that are available, but I can tell you the ones that work the best don't have anything to do with calorie restriction. They don't. So if you are still in that mindset, and unfortunately there's still people that are of influence that advocate for it, and it's not true. So hopefully that gave you some insight. If you have questions, you want to know more, feel free to reach out to me. I answer each and every message I get. And have a good day. And hope that today's like a bonus Monday, because we're already one day down. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.